Have you ever felt like you don't really have any standout skills? Or when you think about the things that you're good at, you just feel like they're not that special or they're just not that hard? Well, you are not alone because so many of us undervalue what we are bringing to the table. And I see this in my client sessions all the time. And if you are undervaluing your strengths, it means that you are holding yourself back from opportunities that you really deserve. So, in this video, I'm going to be breaking down 3 sneaky reasons why you might not know what you're good at and why getting to know that completely changes everything. I'm Kieran Yolisma, and I'm an integrative change coach, entrepreneur, and all-round advocate for making intentional moves, but without the burnout. And I help people build a work life that actually feels really good. So if you are trying to figure out your next steps, you're in the right place. It was actually a client that got me thinking about this because I had a session with a client recently, and when she jumped on the call, I could tell that she'd been crying. And I was like, babe, what's going on? What's up? And she basically just said that she'd been feeling really overwhelmed because she just felt like she knows that she has skills. She just doesn't know how to name them or how to figure out how to use them. And I was like, oh, I feel that because I hear that from so many people. And that can feel so frustrating when you just feel like you know that you have something to offer, but you just don't know exactly what or how to make it work for you. But as we clarified her strengths throughout that session, what became clear very quickly was not that she didn't have any strengths. It just was that she wasn't seeing them for what they were. She was getting tripped up by some very common traps. So let's go through them. Number 1, you assume that everybody else can do it too. You know that thing that you do effortlessly, organizing chaos, connecting with people and building relationships, being able to think multiple steps in the future and like think really strategically. Yeah, not everybody can do that. But because it comes so naturally to you, your brain assumes that it's normal and that everybody can do it. But just think about how frustrated you get when other people are not thinking in the way that you would think about something or in the way that you expect that they should be thinking about it. That alone is proof that everybody thinks about and processes things differently. And so, what's a struggle for somebody else might be really easy for you, and what's a struggle for you might be really easy for somebody else. So, take my client, for example. As we were talking through her work experience, we noticed that she had a strength in strategic thinking. But for her, she was like, oh, I didn't realize it was strategic thinking. I just thought everybody thought in this way. No, babe. No, they don't. Number 2, it's so intuitive to you that you've forgotten that it's actually a skill. When we have become so good at something, it becomes second nature to us. And so we forget how we're doing it. We just do it. It just flows. So maybe it took conscious effort when we were first learning it, but over time, our brain automates the process so that we just do it really naturally. And when something feels really effortless, we can fall into the trap of thinking this thing is just common sense instead of a very real skill. For example, I had another client who had a really natural ability for communication. So she was so good at being able to tailor her message for different audiences. So she could keep it really high level for execs, break it down to the basics for beginners, and she could also make things really engaging and sound really fun for customers. And this was something that she did really intuitively. So for her, she didn't see this as a skill either. She just thought that this is just how I speak to people. Isn't this just how we speak to people? And I had to explain to her, no, like some people really struggle with this. Some people really, this is a real skill. You see this on like job descriptions. Can you tailor your messaging to different stakeholders and different audiences? This is a very real skill that is required in leadership and marketing, so many different things. And so because for her, it just came so intuitively for her, she had forgotten that she's actually going through a process. Like her brain is automatically being able to understand, okay, for this audience, these are the steps that we need to take in order to get this outcome. She's doing that really automatically and intuitively now because she's just been doing it and is so good at it for so long. But she's forgotten the process. But this is absolutely a skill. But because it came so naturally to her, she assumed it wasn't special and like not even really worth talking about. But trust me, this is really special. So my question for you is, what comes so intuitively to you that you have forgotten that it's even a skill? And number 3, because it's easy for you, you think it must be easy. Somewhere along the way, we picked up this idea that unless we've worked really hard for something or that we've really struggled for something, it means it's not valuable and that it's just not special. This is actually a real cognitive bias that rather dramatically has been termed the curse of knowledge. And this just means that once you've learned something, it can be really easy to forget what it was like to not know that thing. So when something becomes second nature to us, we assume it must not be special and we just think that it's easy because we've forgotten that there was a point we didn't even know how to do that thing. But here's the challenge with that cognitive bias, because effort is not what equals value. Impact is how you get value. What is valuable is the impact of what you've done. You can put a lot of effort into something that was a waste of your time. And I'm sure you can think of situations when you've done that in the past. But the reality is that people don't pay for how hard you've worked on something. They pay for the results. They pay for the outcome of what you have done. For example, another one of my clients is really good at running operations. So she can streamline processes. She can spot an inefficiency from a mile away. She can make sure that everything is running really smoothly without breaking a sweat at all. But to her, she felt like this is so easy for me. It's not even special. This is not hard. So how can this even be worth sharing? But when we talked about her strengths, what she said to me was, I just don't think what I do is difficult, and so I don't even think it's that special or worth sharing. If you are somebody who's not good at ops, then you know what I'm talking about. You know that this is special, that people who are really good at ops, they're like, yeah, it is very, very special. That right there is where she was getting stuck, because while she didn't think it was a big deal because it wasn't hard for her anymore, there are a lot of people who struggle with it. And she was not seeing it as valuable. Because she didn't see it as valuable, she didn't really understand the magnitude of what she had to offer in the role that she had and in the work that she wanted to do. And this is why being aware of whether or not you're falling into these traps is so important. Because if you are not clear on your strengths, you are probably also struggling to promote yourself. You're probably struggling to attract the right kinds of opportunities for yourself that are aligned for you. And you probably are also struggling to get the kind of recognition that you truly deserve. And let's be real, if you have ever felt low-key salty about watching somebody else with way less skill get better opportunities, more recognition, or charging higher prices than you are, then that is a very clear sign. A sign that you are not advocating for yourself enough. And sometimes the difference between being able to advocate for yourself in that way is knowing for sure, be crystal clear what it is that you are truly good at, what are your gifts, and what it is that you have to offer. Because how is anybody supposed to know what you're bringing to the table if you don't? So if any of this hit home, then consider this your invitation to stop playing small, get clear on your strengths, and start owning them. Hit subscribe if you want more insights on how to build a career that actually fits you. And then drop a comment and let me know, which one of these 3 traps do you feel like you've been falling into, and what are some of the skills that you have been undervaluing? And if you're in the middle of trying to figure out your next steps, then I also have a quiz that will help you figure out what is your next aligned move in the direction of what you want. The link is in the description as well. And if you take away anything from this whole video, then it's this: remember that the things that come naturally to you are not random. They are so valuable. You just have to get really clear on what they are and then own them. Okay, let me know what comes up for you. See you in the next one.